G'day, welcome to the Garden Gurus. I'm Trevor Cochran. We have got another sensational program for you today, packed full of down-to-earth gardening advice and lots of inspiration, like these beautiful flower carpet roses. Here's what's coming up on today's show. Nigel shares the tricks to pruning tall trees and shrubs the safe way. Are you a lover of homegrown fruit? We share the secrets to growing your own. And we'll say Happy Mother's Day to all the mums in the garden.
Dig, 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 digging around. Dig, 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 digging the ground. I got my spade, I got my hoe, I got my rake, and I'm ready to go.
Who'd have believed it? First it was toilet paper, now it's veggie seedlings. People hoarding them because they want to give themselves food security, creating food production machines in their front and backyards. It does make sense, and it's amazing what you can actually produce out of the average backyard, or even a plot in your local community garden. And as the seasons change from autumn to winter, so do the types of plants you grow in your veggie garden. From warm season to cool season, there's a lot of variety here for you to grow your own produce at home. And produce grown at home tastes better and is better for you. And some plants bring added health benefits, so stocking up on them is an extra important task. Like these plants. Now, they're better known as the crucifer or brassica family of plants. You'll probably know them as the cabbage family. It includes things like broccoli, cauliflower, kale. You've got all sorts of things here that are just wonderful to plant this time of the year. So, let's get them into the ground. This family of plants is pretty much treated the same no matter which one you grow. Always enrich the soil. Adding composted organics does help, but it's important you remember that minerals are vitally important to our bodies. We require a complex diet of micro and macronutrients, and you cannot grow minerals. So in highly productive gardens where plants use lots of them, it's important you add the minerals to the soil. So do it via a good quality fertiliser like this. In sandy soils, this one's even more important as it adds 24 beneficial microbes as well. Now, having hoed that into the soil, we've activated all those minerals and beneficial microbes. So as these seedlings get planted, the great thing about this is they are getting all that goodness straight away, which means they get off to the best possible start. A couple of things. Some of the brassicas will tolerate shade, but in all honesty, an open, brightly lit, sunny garden spot is the preferred option. The right food and strong growth will make them strong and resist any serious pest or disease attack. Now just make sure you give these guys a really good water in after you've planted them. Not only does it settle them in, but it also further assists in activating those microbes and making sure they're really doing a good job in the soil and around the roots of these beautiful new seedlings. Now, if you're wondering how they were called crucifers, well, the crucifer family was called that because all of these plants have one thing in common. They have the same flower structure, and that's how things were identified back in the day. And that flower is a cross of 4 petals, hence the name crucifer. I'm excited. Mother's Day is just a week away, and there's nothing quite like a living gift for Mum to brighten things up, particularly if she's been self-isolating and staying indoors. Beautiful living plants, they just brighten up your day. This is Flora Plant Nursery, one of Australia's best plant growers, producing stunning indoor flowering plants. And the plants that you see here in front of me will be in your local garden centre over the next week, and they'd make the most memorable gift for Mum. Growing plants in a professional environment like this is all about precision. It's got to be the right varieties, you've got to have the right soil, and you must use the right fertilisers to end up with plants as perfect as this. And can you imagine a collection of these all in a beautiful indoor planter bowl? To dazzle Mum, I've gone for 4 stunners. The simply sublime flamingo flower or anthurium, the vibrant flowers of the succulent kalanchoes, another cacti, the zygo cactus with its cascading habit, and the simply regal spathiphyllum. But before you get started, you're going to need a bag of this. Now, this is specially designed indoor potting mix, And you might ask, what's the difference between indoor potting mix and outdoor potting mix? Well, the single biggest difference is compost and pine barks. You won't find them in an indoor mix. And why is that important? Well, you know when you've got indoor plants and you end up with those little flies flying around that are driving you mad? They're called fungus gnats, and they breed in compost and pine bark. Because there's none in there, you won't find any in your indoor plants, so they won't be driving you crazy. Osmocote Indoor Premium Potting Mix also contains peat and perlite to improve water holding and airflow to the roots, as well as Osmocote for indoor plants, which feeds them for up to 6 months, which will ensure your plants do well from day one. When you drop your Prezi off to Mum, make sure you help her keep them looking good. A bottle of this stuff will ensure they grow super well long after you've delivered the present. The great thing about Osmocote Pour and Feed is there's no mixing or mess, no smells, no fuss. Simply pour a capful of this into the soil every 2 weeks and stand back. Pour and Feed comes in 3 different blends. You've got the indoor plants, you've got the cacti and succulent special formula, and this one for one of these beautiful moth orchids. It's an orchid blend, and all you do is literally pour it over the foliage and in around the soil there every couple of weeks, and they will look amazing. What an incredible gift for Mum. They're personal, they're special, and they're incredibly beautiful. Something she'll remember forever. Here's a handy little tip if you're going to be growing pawpaws at home. You have to remember that they come in males and females. You can buy bisexual forms, but as a general comment, the best practice is to plant 2 or 3 plants together. And then as they come into flower, they always flower together. You'll start to tell the difference between the males and the females. We've got a beautiful female here producing a nice flower, and then the male flowers down here, big clusters of them. They're going to pollinate thanks to the bees doing their great work, and we'll end up with a great crop of fruit.
I love pruning as much as the best of them, including Trev, and I've been looking up at this tree here, admiring all of the growth that it's put on through summer. It never ceases to amaze me what Mother Nature's capable of. In fact, I'm so impressed, I've decided to cut some off. Pruning trees and large shrubs is often necessary to keep them at a desirable height, increase density, and keep them healthy by removing any dead or damaged branches. This can result in certain height-related challenges. One can use a ladder, but these have their safety risks. A far simpler and safer option is to stay on the ground and use an extension pole. And here's the genius, folks. The Wolf Garden system is designed for multiple tool use, interchangeable onto the pole. These poles are for use with the multi-change pruning tool heads and saws. The handsaw clicks onto the end of the pole and up she goes, ready for sawing. These saws are designed to be used on the pull stroke. That's the way the teeth are set here, and the technique is you go up, press the saw firmly against the branch, and just make sure that you're using the full length of the saw to get maximum purchase. Press and then pull. That, and look at that, just 2 strokes and she's down. It really is a pleasure to use. I love it. Here's a tip. Make sure you prune your fruit trees to improve their fruit-bearing capacity. It's amazing what you can get done in 2.5 minutes, folks, with the right gear, of course. These smaller, softer branches are too thin and flexible for the saw, so it's a quick and easy change over to the lopper attachment. The correct position is to cut just above the node. Another great idea for your pole is this cable fix handle attachment. And what you do is put it on the end of the pole, tighten it up. The cable all goes in there. It's got this adjustable handle. You then attach that cable onto the one that comes with the lopper, and you get this really nice, neat and tidy setup. The handle's adjustable, you cut. The cable all goes in the end there rather than flapping about in the breeze, getting caught up in the trees. The big question, folks, is this one. Will it fit in the suitcase? The Wolfgarten gear comes with a great warranty, which means you only buy Wolfgarten tools once as a lifelong companion.
Now, one way that you can grow some of your favourite plants is by seed, and everybody's fallen in love with magnolias. There's all sorts of different types, Little Gem, Cape Paris, and this one. This is teddy bear. And if you want to grow some teddy bears yourself, well, why don't you look out for them once they've finished flowering? You'll end up with seed pods just like that. Look at those beautiful red seeds. Each one of them is a new plant. You just plant them into some good seed raising mix. It takes time. It's going to be 3 or 4 years before they'll flower, but you'll end up with a beautiful new plant. And it certainly is a great way to go, but they're even pretty as a cut vase plant. You can actually put this into a vase and it'd be very, very attractive, half a dozen of them.
I'm just round at my mate Pete's place where he's put this beautiful new pool in, and he's asked me to come and have a look at the surrounds. He needs new turf, new soil, more mulch, couple of plants. So I'm going to measure up and let him know what he's up for, and I'm going to share a few measuring and calculating tips with you. The first thing to do is a sketch of the garden showing all the main elements, then grab a tape. Now the area at the end here is a bit of an unusual shape. I'm going to treat it like a parallelogram, so I'm going to measure this side here, measure that side there, add them together and divide it by 2 to get one total, and I'm going to do the same on these other 2 sides. Measure this, measure that, add them together, divide by 2, and I'll times those 2 numbers together, and that'll give me the area. Very handy calculation when you've got these awkward areas. And remember, folks, when you do have irregular shapes, just always allow a little bit more on your turf for waste. So I've got a total area of 44 square metres, but I'm going to take 2 square metres off for the timber steps. Gives me 42 square metres for the turf. And then for the soil, I want 100 mil all over. So it's a simple calculation. 42 times 0.1 equals 4.2 cubic metres. Now, obviously, we've got to clean it up a bit first, and then we'll get on the blower and order. Putting some pop-ups in the new lawn, so I'm doing a flow test, filling a 10-litre bucket, timing it, and then I'll divide the 10 litres by the time it takes to fill it, and times that by 60, and that'll give me my litres per minute. We're coming up now. We've got 26 seconds, so 10 litres divided by 26 times 60 gives me 23 litres a minute. And with that information, I can work out how many pop-ups I can put on one line. So there you go, folks, a couple of calculations for you that should come in handy when you're doing a bit of home landscaping. And remember, those areas and formula calculations can be transferred to other materials like paving or mulch.
There's a lot of us wanting to grow more of our own produce at home, and this includes fruit trees and some varieties that you can grow easily from cutting or seed. Others you don't want to because you don't know what you might end up with. Now, this is one fruit tree that most people would like to grow in their backyard, the avocado. It is a really easy to grow tree once it's established. And the fruit, well, typically what you do is split the fruit open, you could take the seed out. They're best grown if you want true to form varieties from a grafted plant, but if you plant the seed in the garden, it will grow, albeit you'll have to wait up to 7 years before it'll produce fruit that hopefully looks very similar to the parent. Another fruit that leaves us with a large seed is the mango, and most will grow true from seed too. The trick with mango seeds is to let them dry for 2 days after removing them from the fruit, and then plant them into a single pot with good potting mix. It doesn't take very long for these seeds to germinate, but unlike seeds that you're normally used to, this is going to produce multiple shoots. It's what they call a polyembryonic seed. So what you've got to do is actually pick out the strongest shoot, pick all the other ones away, and let that grow. Keep it protected, growing in a nice warm spot through the winter months, and be ready to plant it out about November, when it'll really start to grow well in the garden. Babako is a cool climate form of pawpaw that doesn't produce seed and only grows from cuttings. Now, to take cuttings, they want to be about 20 centimetres in length. and you pop them into a 200 ml pot of soil and cover that with a plastic bag over the top. In a few weeks, you can then plant those cuttings straight into the ground. When it comes to apples, pears, peaches, etc., you will get seeds, but you're much better to grow them as a grafted tree sourced from your local garden centre. These will be true to type, which can be a problem with these kinds of trees varying and not being enjoyable to eat if you're growing them from seed. Plus, a grafted tree will be producing a nice crop within just a couple of years. Now, there are a lot of plants that you can grow at home that won't cost you anything, like this pineapple, just cutting the head off and popping that into the ground with a bit of dirt around the outside will deliver us a new pineapple in no time. And there are so many plants like that. If you want to know anything more about growing your own at home, check out our book, Delish From Garden to Table. Now, we've been getting a lot of people writing in with this problem, and it's well worthwhile taking note. You'll see all these holes cut out of the leaf, and this is actually done by a bee. What it's doing is it's cutting out a little layer where it'll put its egg on the inside, lay the egg, roll the leaf back up, and then plant it around here, probably in some rocks, and let its baby hatch and grow. And because there's so many cuts, you know, there's a big population of leafcutter bees around here. The best solution is just to go through, cut all this old foliage off. Now's the time to give them a bit of a trim back anyway. Let all the new foliage come through like this, and in just a few weeks, you'll be enjoying flowers and you will have forgotten this occurred. One of the most remarkable families of plants that you can grow at home are these guys. Now, they originate from South Africa. They're known as Proteas. We have Proteas in Australia too, and there's quite a lot of similarities in this family. These plants love the same growing conditions as our natives, and they have very similar spectacular flowers as well. They do really well through the spring, the autumn, and right through winter, but summer, they have the ability to hold on through the driest conditions without setting back. But look at the flowers. Aren't they gorgeous? And now is the time to get them into the ground in your garden. And Garden Express allow you the chance to order them online and get them delivered direct to your door with this very special offer. You'll get 3 different Proteas, a leucadendron called Amy. It's absolutely beautiful and makes a brilliant cut flower. One of my all-time favourite leucadendrons, Safari Sunset, which performs so well in our dry garden environments. And this beauty, Protea nerifolia, this is the pink form. It's absolutely gorgeous. You'll start out like this, and in just a few years, you'll be picking bunches as gorgeous as this. And they are fantastic indoors in a vase. You'll be surprised at just how long they last. And they come in 75 ml planter pots, ready to go into a free draining soil in a sunny spot in your garden. Plant now, and by this time next year, you'll be harvesting the first blooms. I'm continuing my journey with Viking, and I've brought you back to this Augustusburg Castle. It is absolutely stunning. It was recognised by UNESCO in 1984 as a World Heritage Site, both for the building and its spectacular gardens, which I want to continue showing you around because the chance to see them in the autumn is quite unique. They are absolutely stunning. I've shown you some of the gardens, but I've loved them so much I thought I'd show you some more. The grounds were first set aside for the purpose of being a hunting lodge. So there's a combination of manicured gardens and then a wooded garden, forested area that's lovely to explore as well. The castle itself is something else to admire. Designed in the unique Rococo style, it's considered one of the finest examples of Germanic architecture surviving today. Inside, there's museums and a considerable back catalogue of historic collections. This is a day trip for sure. Now, the garden beds around the outside have got this beautiful, rich soil, and it's used to grow colour plants during the warmer months. During the winter, it's allowed to rest. It's probably going to freeze and have snow over the top of it, but come springtime, they'll plant up with colour plants all the way through here. And what it does as part of the design is add depth and dimension. The colours will really lift the outside and show up the hedges on the inside. It's a very clever way of gardening. These 18th century Baroque gardens were designed by Dominique Girard, modelled on French designs. Girard's understanding of landscape decor was exceptional, with this garden being amongst the most beautiful of its kind. His influences from his master, who designed the famous gardens of Versailles, are evident here, as the formality of this Baroque design remains perfect today, nearly 400 years since it was first built. There are so many things you learn when you visit gardens like this. When they've got so much age in them, there's things that really become quite obvious about the world we live in and how it's changing. The hedge plants that they used to use here were Dutch box, but that has had to change because the climate's getting drier through the summer months and it's causing the Dutch box to stress. They've changed over to English box, which is now performing so much better. And this is a lesson that you could learn back in Australia in your own home garden. And it's just trial and error, but it's incredible over a 300 to 400 year period how things have changed. The Augustusburg Castle Garden is a truly outstanding example of European Baroque garden style, and I could spend days just exploring the grounds here. There really is so much to look at, and it really should be a must-stop on your next trip to Germany. Something you can do if you're cruising with Viking. Well, that's all we've got for you this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, if you've got any questions from anything you've seen on today's show, you can download fact sheets. And of course, you can check out videos on our website. It's a great resource. And if you've got a specific question, or maybe you'd like to show us a photo of a favourite plant in your garden, become a friend on Facebook and post it on our page. I'm Trevor Cochran. Look forward to seeing you next week for the Garden Gurus.